Hey, and welcome to Answers About Alzheimer's. I am your host, Debra, certified master dementia strategist. By the way, you can also become certified. Head over to my website, answersaboutalz.org, if you'd like to learn more about all the amazing courses. All the amazing courses? No, all the amazing courses that I offer just for you. Every skill level is welcome, and I have all different price ranges, so everything to fit every budget. But you need help, and I'm here to give it to you. Anyway, I'm Debra. I'm so happy that you're here today. Today, I'm going to talk about something really cool. I'm going to talk about a little bit about behaviors and communication and how they kind of go together like this. But before I do that, I want to let you know that I have a beautiful PDF for you that you can download. It's called Understanding Different Types of Dementia. And the reason that this is so important is that oftentimes people really do have more than one type of dementia, and we're discovering this more and more and more. Researchers are finding after autopsy that most people who have been diagnosed with one form of dementia or another actually have more than one. So I'm thinking that probably, doctors are so busy, and once they probably give you a diagnosis, they're probably not looking for a second diagnosis, right? They figure, I've diagnosed you have Alzheimer's. I've diagnosed you have Lewy body. I've diagnosed you have FTD. So we as the care partners, and we're the ones that are around that person the most, we're the ones that are going to notice different symptoms. So this paper has the different symptoms for different diseases, the life expectancies, the causes. It's really, really cool. So this is free. So you can get this at my website, answersaboutalz.org. I hope you pick one up. It's very cool. And share it with your friends. Like, tell them to go and get one too. So I wanted just to talk a little bit about, and because we know that this topic is just, it's vast, right? I could spend days talking about communication. I could spend days talking about behaviors. It's interesting. I recently did a podcast with Larry Anderson, and you should look this up. It's a great podcast. Larry Anderson has a podcast called Living with Lewy, and he actually has Lewy body dementia, and he has a podcast. It's fascinating because he has a podcast where it's so interesting because he is the person with dementia. And what I find so fascinating is that pretty much most of the people that I've ever come across who has Lewy body dementia, they're so advanced in their disease process that it's fascinating to me to be able to have conversations with him and kind of ask him what he's experiencing and what's going through with him. So when we talk, communication and behaviors really go hand in hand, because in many, many cases, the reason why a person with dementia is even having a behavior is because there's a lack of communication. And the lack of communication can be from either end. It can be from the receiver or the giver, right? So the person with dementia, they could have a problem getting their message out to you in a way that you understand it and that you can receive it. So the person with dementia, if they're trying to communicate something, or maybe they don't have the verbal skills anymore, depending on where they are in the process, the words are coming out wrong, maybe they meant something completely differently, that's frustrating to them. Frustration turns into anger behaviors, right? So when a person with dementia can't communicate their messages transmitted to another person, that's frustrating for them. So that's the first piece of it. Then when the person with dementia is trying to understand what you're saying to them and they can't receive that information. Their brain can't process it. Their brain can't process the right words. The speed is too fast for them. There is too much like static going on around them. And that's what I call it, static. They have a lot of static and they can't filter through that static. So they can't receive the information in. So the communication in, right, receiving, the communication out, transmitting. So for the person with dementia, this is oftentimes where these really troublesome behaviors are coming from. Because think about it. Just think about how frustrating that is for them when they can't understand or they're trying to tell you something, but they can't. Can you imagine how incredibly frustrating that would be if you were trying to tell somebody something and they just couldn't get it, right? That's really tough. So a lot of times this is where the behaviors are coming from. So we have to learn all about how to communicate differently to a person with dementia. And we also have to listen differently. We have to listen so differently. And this, oh my God, this is where it gets really fascinating and really interesting. When you take the course, we really get into this. And then that's how you become a strategist, because then you stop and you start thinking differently about how they're saying things, why they're saying things, what's going on, where's it coming from, and you can actually start interpreting things very, very differently. It's so cool, and that way you minimize behaviors. I mean, right? So that's just for the person with dementia. But now let's talk about you, or the cognitively intact person, right? You're the loved one, or maybe you work with people in memory care units, nursing homes, rehab centers. So now you are also trying to communicate to them, and it's not getting through. So we are getting frustrated, and that shows, right? And we've all heard that people with dementia, sometimes they can mirror what they're seeing. So if you're getting a little agitated, upset, your voice is going up. That's what I do. My voice gets louder and louder and louder when I get upset. That's certainly going to escalate a behavior as well. So we've already talked about the person with dementia transmitting out, receiving messages in, right? That's all screwed up. But we, as the cognitively intact, we're also on the struggling end, because we're trying to ask them to maybe do a task, or leave us alone for a few minutes, or whatever it is. So we are transmitting information that's not getting through. And we are also not understanding what they're trying to tell us. So we are not receiving the communication either. So it's not just the person with dementia transmitting and receiving communication. It's also for the cognitively intact. So we actually have 2 problems over here and 2 problems over here. So we now have 4 communication problems going on at any given time. 4. And we have to solve all 4 of those problems in order to make the communication work. Because we know that when communication fails and breaks down, which it's going to, you all know it, you've all experienced it. Type, I've experienced that in the chat. I've experienced that in the chat. Communication breaks down, we have behaviors, or as I like to call them, reactions. So, how do we solve that? Well, again, I could go on and on and on for days about that, and there are many, many techniques that you need to use, and you need to use them pretty much all at the same time. But, the basics I'm sure you've already heard. Slow down, focus on the keywords, eye contact, make sure you have their attention, limit background noise, body language, facial expressions, blah, 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 blah. You've heard this before, but when you put that all together with everything else that you can learn about dementia, it comes much easier, right? Because sometimes we're in a hurry or we've had a bad day, and that's okay. But in order to have the successes that I know you want, because we all want those successes, don't we? We all want the calm and the peace and the harmony and the kumbaya, kumbaya. But in order to have that, it's much more of a process to get all this together. But even those four, right? Transmitting in, or transmitting out, receiving in, those messages and those communications, that's one of the biggest pieces that you need to work on, because then everything else will kind of fall into place. So we spend a great deal of time on that. And, I want to say a quick thank you. God, there's so many of you, but I want to say a quick thank you to those of you who have purchased my book, Forget Me Not, because in 1 year, this has become a #1 bestseller. And I kind of knew it would, because it's so good. First of all, I cannot believe that I wrote a book. So all you English teachers and all of you teachers when I was growing up and told me and I was a terrible student, haha, wrote a book, #1 bestseller. But anyway, it is super, super easy to read. The techniques in here are simple to use. They work. The correspondence that I get every day with emails and messages thanking me for this book. There's charts in here. There's some little worksheets too at the end of each chapter. So if you want, you can get really personal with your person with dementia, and you can kind of fill this out, and it will help you to kind of think about things for your specific person or a specific patient maybe that is really giving you some trouble. There's great illustrations in here. Those were actually done all by my daughter. She's an amazing artist. But I highly recommend that you get this book. Like, it's super, super, super easy to read. But more importantly, the techniques are easy to use, which is why you're reading the book, to get techniques and skills that you can use right now, today, and have more peace of mind. So when they're at peace, you're at peace, right? Just like communication and behaviors, when they're at peace, you're at peace. Same thing, same thing. So get the book. It's available on Amazon. There's a link below. It's super easy to find. It's very inexpensive, But anyway, I want to say thank you. Please subscribe. Join me for more videos. Look up the popular videos. You're going to learn a lot from those popular videos. A lot of them were shot over a year ago. Some of my most popular content. So you know what? Just keep going. That's all you need to do, is just keep going. One day at a time, one step at a time. And I'm here for you. I'm here for you each and every step. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit that bell, whatever the hell that bell is for. Just hit it. It does something to my numbers. It's good. Please hit it. Shoot me a little comment. I swear to God, I love hearing from you. I love opening up my YouTube and seeing all these messages from all of you. It keeps me going, right? I'm here to help you keep going. Help me keep going. So just shoot me a message. Say hi. Say whatever. Tell me that you're learning something. Tell me what's working. Tell me if there's anything in particular that you would like to see a video done on, and I'm more than happy to do that for you. So keep watching. Tell your friends. Share the channel. Keep going. You can do this. You got this. Because together we can.